The restaurant was dim and quiet, tucked away on the edge of downtown. Candlelight flickered between them, soft music played in the background, and a waiter stood at a polite distance. Everything looked perfect. Maria sat across from Julian, her hands folded neatly in her lap. She wore a soft red dress. Her face was calm, unreadable. Julian, dressed in a dark suit, reached across the table with a smile that didn't touch his eyes. "This wine's your favorite, right?" he asked, twisting the cork and pouring slowly into her glass. His voice was smooth, practiced, as if he'd said that line many times before. She nodded, watching the way his fingers curled around the bottle, the way his hand hesitated, just slightly, before the pour. Her eyes didn't blink. When he set the bottle down, he turned to wave the waiter over. That was when she moved. In one quiet motion, she swapped the glasses. Her fingers didn't tremble. Her face stayed still. Julian turned back, picked up the glass now sitting before him, and smiled. "To second chances," he said. Maria tilted her head slightly. "To second chances." He drank, a full sip. At first, nothing changed. He wiped his mouth with a napkin, chuckling about something that didn't matter. Then his hands began to twitch, just a little, then more. He paused mid-sentence, looked down at his fingers, touched his throat. His eyes widened, just a bit, just enough. Maria leaned in across the table, slow and steady. Her voice was low, almost gentle. "You picked the wrong woman to poison." His mouth opened. No words came out. She sat back. Her expression didn't change. She just watched. All around them, the world kept moving. The music, the waiters, the quiet hum of laughter from other tables. No one noticed. Not yet. Maria had always known how to make things beautiful. Her small home decor business had grown from a tiny shop into a brand people admired. She had an eye for calm colors, soft touches, and comfort. Her clients trusted her. They smiled when she walked into a room. But her own house didn't feel like home anymore. Julian was the reason people called them a power couple. He was tall, polished, well-spoken, a rising politician with the right smile and the right stories. He held her hand in public, told crowds how strong and supportive his wife was, praised her business in interviews. People loved them. Behind closed doors, things were different. At first, it was small. He didn't like her seeing certain friends. He forgot to give her back her credit card. He said her clothes were too loud, then too plain. When she asked why he came home so late, he would smile and say, "You know how much I work for this family." He never hit her, not with his hands. He used silence, sharp words, long lectures that twisted her thoughts until she doubted her own memory. When she cried, he called her dramatic. When she stood up for herself, he called her unstable. Her best friend Lisa, a nurse, had always known when something wasn't right. One afternoon, while they sat folding throw blankets at Maria's shop, Lisa gently touched Maria's wrist. "What happened here?" she asked, eyes locked on the faint bruise just under the sleeve. Maria pulled back too quickly. "I bumped into the cabinet." Lisa didn't press, but she looked at her friend a little differently after that. At home, Julian started monitoring Maria's phone. He'd changed the bank passwords without telling her. Calls with her mother grew shorter. He said her family was too noisy, too negative. Even their daughter Chloe, sweet and sharp for her age, had changed. She used to dance around the house, leave drawings on the fridge. Now she stayed quiet. Her drawings were darker, her questions more careful. "Why doesn't Daddy smile at you like he used to?" she asked once. Maria had no answer. She started noticing other things, faint perfume on his shirts that wasn't hers. Nights he came home and took a shower right away. Names he muttered in his sleep. But he was smart, careful. She had no proof. Every time she tried to get close, he changed the subject or made her feel like she was imagining things. "I'm doing all this for you," he'd say, pouring himself a drink. "You want to live in a small house again? Go back to nothing." She stopped arguing. She smiled in public. She stayed quiet at home. But inside, something was building, a quiet anger, a small voice telling her that something had to change, that she couldn't keep living like this. She just didn't know how. Not yet. It was almost midnight when Julian came home. He tossed his phone on the kitchen counter like always and went straight to the shower. Maria stood by the sink, drying her hands, her heart already heavy from another quiet evening. The phone buzzed once, then again, then again. She glanced at the bathroom door. The water was running. His phone was unlocked. She didn't think. Her fingers moved before her mind caught up. She opened the messages, The screen filled with texts from a contact saved as K, miss you already. Did you delete the photos? You said she's starting to get suspicious. There were pictures too. Him in a hotel room, him kissing a woman in red lipstick, him smiling in a way he hadn't smiled at her in years. Maria's hands trembled. She opened the voice notes. Julian's voice came through, cold and sharp. If she finds out, it's over. I've worked too hard to let her take this down. I don't care how I have to do it. She's weak. Always has been. She won't see it coming. Another message followed. Something slow, natural looking. One mistake, and it's done. Just one. She froze. He wasn't just cheating. He wanted her gone. Gone. She grabbed her phone and recorded the voice notes. Then she forwarded them to Lisa without a word. Her chest burned, but her hands were steady now. When Julian came back into the room, wiping his face with a towel, Maria was back at the stove, stirring soup that wasn't even on. He didn't notice a thing. The next morning, Lisa called. Her voice was tight. Are you safe? Maria answered, without emotion. For now. Come stay with me. Tonight. Bring Chloe. No, Maria said. He'd know. I need to think. Lisa paused, then spoke carefully. Then you need to be smart. Document everything. Every bruise. Every message. Every slip-up. Maria started that night. She took photos of the marks on her arms, saved bank emails, printed statements he thought she never saw. She backed up every message, every note. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She smiled when he walked through the door, asked him how work was, packed his lunch every morning like always. But now, every word, every look, every moment had a purpose. She wasn't planning to run. She was planning to end it. Maria woke up each morning beside a man who had decided she was better off dead. And yet, she kissed his cheek, made his coffee, and asked how he'd slept. She smiled through the smell of his cologne and the weight of his silence. Every move she made was careful now. She kept a second phone hidden behind a loose floorboard in the closet. Every document she collected, photos, recordings, emails, was backed up twice, stored in Lisa's drive under a fake folder called Recipe Ideas. Lisa checked in with a short emoji each night. A red heart meant safe. A yellow dot meant caution. They never used full sentences anymore. Julian's grip had changed. It wasn't yelling or shouting. It was tighter than that, quieter. He started calling more often when she was out, asked for photos of where she was. He showed up once at her shop without warning. All smiles for the customers, his hand heavy on her lower back. She didn't flinch. Then she noticed the car, a dark grey SUV parked across from her shop 2 days in a row. Different drivers, same model, same tinted windows. The next day, it followed her halfway home before turning off. That night, Julian stood by the window, sipping wine. You've been quiet lately, he said. Strange even. Maria folded laundry on the couch. Just tired. He nodded. Maybe you need a break. From work. From certain people. She looked up. Like who? He turned slowly, just saying, I don't like when people stick their noses where they don't belong. It's messy. Makes people disappear. Her hands paused. The towel in her lap stayed unfolded. He smiled and went back to sipping. That weekend, Chloe found an old photo buried in a drawer. Maria's face was turned slightly in, her left cheek bruised faintly, her eyes unfocused. Why do you look hurt here? Chloe asked, holding the photo up. Maria's stomach dropped. Oh, that was... I fell. Remember that old coffee table? It had a sharp edge. Chloe stared at her. You never fall. Maria forced a small laugh. Well, I did that time. Chloe didn't smile. She just nodded and put the photo down carefully. That night, Maria couldn't sleep. She lay in bed listening to Julian's breathing, slow and steady beside her. Her body was still, but her mind raced. The next morning, she told Lisa everything. I think he's going to poison me, she said over the phone, her voice barely above a whisper. Lisa didn't question it. Okay, we need to move. We'll make a fake trip. Say you have a supplier meeting, somewhere far, somewhere he can't follow. Maria agreed. They chose New York. Lisa booked the flight in her name, packed her a go-bag. Chloe would stay with Lisa's sister for a weekend visit. Maria would disappear quietly, just long enough to file reports and come back with police protection. It was a clean plan, simple, until Julian announced the dinner. He came into her studio one afternoon with a bouquet of white roses. He hadn't brought her flowers in years. You've been under stress, he said. Let's get away for one night. Just dinner. Just us. She didn't blink. Sure, she said. Sounds nice. That night, she called Lisa. He knows something, or he suspects. I don't know. You can cancel. Lisa said. Say you're sick. No, Maria said. If I cancel, he wins. If I go, maybe I find out just how far he's willing to go. Silence stretched on the line. Then Lisa said, then take the camera. The pin. Maria touched the tiny black camera shaped like a button. She sewed it into the neckline of her blouse. It recorded straight to the cloud. She pressed it once to test. It blinked, recording. The day of the dinner, she dressed slowly. Her hands didn't shake. She braided her hair neatly, wore pearl earrings, soft makeup, no perfume. Julian picked her up in a rented car, sleek, black, new. He opened the door for her, kissed her hand. His smile was wide, practiced. You look beautiful tonight, he said. She smiled back. So do you. The restaurant was tucked away in a quiet corner of the city. It had soft music, dim lights, and white tablecloths that looked untouched. A candle burned between them, its flame small but steady. Julian pulled out her chair. He smiled like they were on their first date. Just us tonight, he said. No phones, no work, just peace. Maria smiled. That sounds perfect. He ordered a bottle of red wine. The waiter poured it, then left the bottle on the table. Julian leaned forward and poured into her glass with care. His hand was steady, but she saw it. The slight shift in his left sleeve, the edge of something metal, a vial. He moved his thumb to cover it quickly. Maria kept her eyes soft, her face calm. She waited until he looked away to adjust his cuff. Then she moved. A small cough, a light touch to her lip. As she reached for her napkin, her hand brushed both glasses, switched them without pause. When she looked up again, Julian was watching her. She smiled. He raised his glass. To new beginnings. To new beginnings, she said. He took a long sip. She didn't. They made small talk. He asked about her shop, told her he wanted to travel again. Just the two of them. His words were smooth, too smooth. She nodded, laughed when expected, listened like she cared. But then, his words slowed. He blinked hard. His hand twitched once on the table, then again. His breathing changed. Shallow, uneven. He reached for his water, missed the glass. Maria leaned in, her voice quiet. You should have made sure I drank first. His eyes widened. He tried to speak, but nothing came out. His lips parted, then closed again. His fingers curled tight. She stood slowly, calm and careful. Someone call 911, she said to the staff nearby. My husband's not well. As people gathered around, she pulled her phone from her purse, opened the folder, played the voice notes on speaker. Julian's voice spilled into the room, cold, planned, clear. If she finds out, it's over. I don't care how I have to do it. Gasps followed. A waiter stepped back. The manager, confused and alarmed, grabbed a phone and dialed faster. Julian collapsed in his chair, trembling. He tried to reach for her, but she stepped back. She didn't cry. She didn't shout. She watched. The police came before the ambulance. The officers listened to the recordings, checked the bottle, took her statement. They handcuffed Julian even as his body shook. He looked up at her, eyes wet, face slack with fear. She looked back at him. I told you, she said softly. You picked the wrong woman to poison. The police took Julian straight from the restaurant to the hospital, then to jail. Maria gave them everything, the voice notes, the camera footage, copies of messages, bank records. Lisa was with her the entire time. By morning, the story had already started to spread. A rising politician accused of poisoning his wife. The news picked up fast. Reporters stood outside Maria's shop, waiting for a statement. She stayed quiet, but her lawyer spoke for her. The recordings were shared with the court. The vial in his sleeve tested positive for a slow-acting poison. Everything lined up. Julian's career ended overnight. His campaign pulled all ads. Sponsors left. His party called it deeply disturbing. He was denied bail. Maria filed for divorce the same week. At home, Chloe was quiet for days. She didn't ask many questions. She just stayed close to her mom, followed her room to room. One night, while tucking her in, Maria paused. Do you want to talk to someone? She asked gently. Chloe nodded once. Like a doctor? For feelings? Yes. They found a therapist together. Chloe went twice a week. Slowly, her drawings changed. More color, more light. Lisa never left her side. She helped move boxes, watched Chloe when needed, made sure Maria ate. When it was all over, she hugged Maria tight and said, You did it. You saved your own life. But Maria wanted to do more. With Lisa's help, she started a small group. Women who had escaped silent abuse, but never had the words for it. The group grew. Then, she turned it into a foundation, offering free legal support and counseling for women who felt trapped like she once did. She spoke at one event. then another. She told her story, not with anger, but with strength. People listened. Her shop reopened under a new name, Still Home. She rebuilt quietly, piece by piece. Not perfect, not fast, but steady. She didn't forget what she'd been through. She just refused to be shaped by it. The house was still. No footsteps. No low voice in the hallway. No shadows moving where they shouldn't be. Just quiet. Maria walked in and dropped her keys into the bowl by the door. She took off her shoes, set her bag down, and stood in the living room for a long moment, just listening. It was the same house, same walls, same furniture, but everything felt different. The silence wasn't heavy anymore. It didn't press on her chest or make her stomach twist. It was soft now, clean, like air after rain. She walked to the kitchen, opened the cabinet, took out one wine glass, the tall one with the thin stem, the one she used to save for special nights. She poured herself half a glass. The sound was quiet, gentle. She held it in her hand, staring at the dark red swirl of the liquid. The last time she saw this glass, it had almost been her last. Now, it was just hers. She walked to the window. Outside, the streetlights flickered. A dog barked in the distance. Somewhere nearby, someone laughed. She raised the glass slowly. Her voice was quiet. Not shaky, not angry, just full. To surviving, she whispered. And then, she drank. Hi besties, thank you so much for watching to the end. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. Bye.